Brilliance Unfolds as Belief Changes by Elli Sanders. For over 10 years, I've been a solidified millionaire. I began my journey in the financial world as a rave club planner and marketer when I was a teenager in Colorado. I've been through the ringer when it comes to money and law of attraction. I've found that depending on how one grows up is predominantly responsible for the beliefs we take into the rest of our life. I was lucky that my parents were very much aware of energetic presences, not only when I was a child and a young adult, but even before that. When I was growing inside my ma, I was being influenced by her life experiences of the present and of the past. You see, even energetic wave patterns being placed upon the mother while pregnant can affect and cause influence in the child's life, all the way till its death. A belief can be transmitted as easily as a spoken word in a dead silent library. It echoes and bounces off the walls, effectively stringing together webs of lies and deceit, or bringing about abundance, happiness and profound human change and evolution for the rest of the child's life. Now, if you were not ordained into a family or religious institute that was aware of this even just 10 or 20 years ago, you would have been stuck living your life in default mode. Default mode is where the patterns inflicted into your body through pregnancy remains inside the body's temple, locked inside the mind, inside the muscles, inside your organs and tissues and inside your auric fields. The mortars, the doctors, family responsible for BEST or bioenergetic synchronization technique found that aligning the body within all these fields effectively removes the trapped belief in energy, not just from the mind, but from the physical body, resulting in spontaneous healing, mental clarity and more. They call the act of receiving a blemish inside the body's energy and belief a bushwhack. This is nothing more than a traumatic event in your life. Now, get this, a traumatic event could even be considered to be a positive event. Extreme bouts of excitement can cause locked energy and actually be responsible for attracting unwanted events in your life. Now, although this happens, it's usually an event that was seen as negative. The best story that I remember from BEST that illustrates this idea was when one of the mortars were on a plane waiting for everyone to board. This particular mortar who was flying this day had a first-class airplane ticket, and as he sat waiting for the rest of the passengers to board the plane, a small little girl entered the plane and immediately saw how wonderful first class looked. Her eyes sparkled with excitement and wonder as she peered about the cabin. The little girl looked back and asked her mother if she could sit here in first class, and her mother quickly hammered a response: "You'll never be able to sit up here." Now, personally, even to this day, every time I tell the story I can't help cringe and feel for the little girl. This little girl had a belief that she was worthy to sit in first class, even without knowing the difference between coach and first class in terms of price. But at that point, the belief of her mother and her mother's lack of worthiness reflected upon a very subconsciously driven child, looking to the outer world, especially her mother, for help understanding this bright and colourful world in which we all live. This is a bushwhack, and because of this, she went on to live a life of worth challenges, no doubt, unless she found a way to remove these beliefs from her mind that were imprinted by someone who also had the very same thing happen to them in some similar fashion while they were a child themselves. Now, let's say that this very same scenario happened again, but this time, the little girl entered the plane, and again, the same wide eyes and sparkles of excitement answered within and radiated from her being. She turns around and asks her mother, "I want to sit up here." Instead of responding to the very same programming of worthiness that she grew up with, decided to respond to her daughter in a different way. "Oh, it sure is wonderful, isn't it? And you know what? There is nothing stopping you from being able to experience sitting up here. Ultimately, you deserve it. You can have it. You are worth all the stars in the sky. And one day, you and I will certainly fly first class together. But today, we are sitting a bit farther back in the plane. But it will be just as wonderful." You see, human beings all come down to a facet of worthiness in their lives. So, this little girl goes on into her life with this as a backing, as a benchmark of worthiness, and with that, her mind works differently than others, because of how she was told she can have, be or do anything she wishes in life, without seeing or being told otherwise. Her mind is naturally immune to seeing opportunity in her life. It's easier to manifest goals and desires, as they are fun, they are breathtaking, and they are the spice of life. So now, Her intellect and her goals come together and her brilliance shows through to the world. And with that, every single person in the world is in collaboration to make her wishes come true. So, what's the point of this law of attraction story? Many people start off with a positive mindset and attitude to sit with their children, but the programming we have all been indoctrinated into runs deep, and it's not something to blame or to be used to make us a martyr. It's something that needs to be addressed and seen as what it is. Unworthiness passed down from well-meaning people who didn't know any better than what they knew at the time. Begin seeing your unworthiness as nothing but a pack full of others' beliefs about themselves, and it has nothing to do with you ultimately, except that right now in this moment, it still resides within your muscles, tissues, tendons, mind, brain, organs and auric field. This is how to remove these beliefs. Continue to witness this unworthiness trying to unfold itself inside of you. Watch as it tries to express its desire to be right. You don't need to let it. Watch it. Feel it. Don't react to it. Let it slip by. And if you do react to it, simply again, come back to a state where you're simply watching. If you're discussing with others about your worth, attempt to end the conversation or change it in a direction that empowers your worth instead of taking from it. We have an ebook on our site about how to activate the laws of attraction in your favor, and it is a fascinating read. It's quick, it's effective, and it's only what you initially need to start using the laws of attraction and how to continue building on your worth.